Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about former Secretary of Defense Esper's statements on Trump and his read. And it's worth noting this is Trump's former defense secretary. Because he brought up something, and I think it's kind of important. Right now, people are focusing more on the legal aspects of it, the nuances of the law, looking at the letter of the law. Esper really kind of leans into the spirit of the law and why that part of this shouldn't be lost. Okay, so what did he say? People have described him as a hoarder when it comes to these type of documents, but clearly it was unauthorized, illegal, and dangerous. That's what he said, okay? Unauthorized. That's apparent. Okay, there's no arguing that at this point. Illegal, that's going to be decided in court. Dangerous, this is the part we need to focus on. Because it's the part that's getting lost. He went on to say, imagine if a foreign agent, another country, were to discover documents that outline America's vulnerabilities or the weaknesses of the United States military. Think about how that could be exploited. How that could be used against us in a conflict, how an enemy could develop countermeasures, things like that. Or in the case of the most significant piece that was raised in the allegation about U.S. plans to attack Iran, think about how that affects our readiness, our ability to prosecute an attack. This is the part that can't be lost in this. You can argue whatever you want. At this point, I don't actually understand what Trump's defense really is. I'm not even sure that he really understands what the charges are, to be honest. But you can argue that maybe he didn't really violate this law in some way. How you're going to argue that, I have no clue. But let's get to the facts. Those documents were unsecured in an area that a whole bunch of people had access to. And according to the allegations, they contain SCI information, SAP information, information related to the initial opening gambit of an attack on a specific country, the war plans. War plans. I want you to think about all the World War II movies you've ever seen. Those plans. Imagine what would have happened if the Germans had access to the Allied plans for D-Day. Imagine what would happen right now if Russia actually knew what was going on with the Ukrainian counteroffensive. Information is power when you're talking about something like that. And when you are talking about that opening assault, that is where the U.S. shines. That is where the U.S. is set up to basically destroy the opposition's conventional military capability. If Iran actually had access to those plans and could look at them and say, okay, well, we can develop a countermeasure for this. We can do this. We can alter this. If tensions get high, what we need to do is move these items and replace them with inflatables or something like that. The plans could be drawn up to defeat the U.S. plan. It doesn't matter what you think of the former president. In this regard, what you think about his politics, what you think about his policy, whether you think he's a horrible person or you think he's a pretty swell guy. One thing is super clear from this incident. This man can never have access to classified material again. It's that simple. If you don't agree with that statement, it means that you are putting your loyalty to personality, because it's not even party. You're putting your loyalty to Trump, an establishment billionaire that does not care about you in any way, shape, or form. You're putting your loyalty to him above the loyalty you have to the people that you're going to send into harm's way. The information that was contained in these documents, it's the stuff spy movies are made about. It's the stuff that when it actually gets out into the wild through somebody who is employed with an intelligence agency, it creates a task force. It creates SWAT teams kicking in doors. It creates all kinds of things. But there is a significant portion of the American public who's just like, well, it's okay because a rich dude did it. It's okay because, he has an R after his name. It's okay because he says he loves this country. Nobody who loves this country, nobody who values American supremacy the way that he claims he does, would ever put those documents at risk. He's lying to you. That's the thing that's important. I know there's a whole bunch of lefties and liberals watching this right now, and they're like, yeah, well, I don't really care about that. That's fine. His supporters do. And it's going to be his supporters who put him back in office, or at least try to. The amount of lives that would be lost if these documents fell into opposition hands is immense. Beyond that, because the security was so lax, the U.S. has to act like they fell into opposition hands, which means they have to move to a different plan. A plan that is going to avoid some of the key strategic things that was in the one that Trump had. I'm willing to bet the one presented to the then President of the United States was the best they had to offer, and now they can't use it. Trump's already put U.S. troops at risk. It's already happened. Because that best plan, the one that was presented to the president, it's worthless. Because he wanted to show some stuff off. The best case scenario. You can't talk about wanting to make America great and continue to support what's probably going to turn out to be the largest, most widespread single security breach in American history. Esper, not my favorite person. But refocusing on what would be caused by Trump's lackadaisical attitude towards security, probably pretty important. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.